But most people consider the whole universe an intellectual universe, and it's far from that at all. The universe is not an intellectual exercise, and if that's the only way you look at the universe, you're going to miss most of it, and you won't be able to understand most of it. So you've got to look at the whole rainbow, not just one color in the rainbow, to start understanding the whole truth. You know, the universe is much more sensual, experiential, than it is intellectual.
Makes sense, sweetheart. Totally makes sense. I always like to refer to the intellect as the last poor dumb bastard to get on the bus. We actually have Marcus back with us.
Oh, good.
So let's see if we can connect with him. Marcus, are you there, darling?
Yeah, hi, dear. Hi, Charlie. Can you hear me?
Marcus, it's so good to hear from you. Thank you. Well, you are what you love, sweetheart, and I'd like to introduce you to the fabulous Mellen-Thomas.
Yeah, my dearest greetings to you, Mellen.
Yeah.
I'm so thrilled by your story. I really recommended it to hundreds and hundreds of people because it resonates so truly with what I experience in myself. And yes, it's just a very amazing testimony. And I can never get enough of your stories and your interviews right on the net. George Noory, just the last big one. And I would have a couple of questions. Do you hear me?
Sure, uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
And because you said that in your life review, you got back to this experience in the womb of your mother with your father as an alcoholic, and so to say how your negative worldview unfolded from then. And my question would be, do you have some kind of like what's called incarnation plans? Does this exist? Do we, so to say, set certain conditions? Do we choose our parents and certain life situations?
I'm not sure if I understand the question precisely. Ask me one more time.
I said, like Michael Newton or this regression therapists, what's called incarnation plans of souls, or that they, so to say, many souls decide some kind of what parents, what situations they are born in. Do you have some evidence for that for yourself?
Oh yes, very much so. We're literally born into these situations and hypnotized by them from the moment of birth, and to actually be able to get to a perspective or an insight in which you can see the different perspectives is very lucky. I'm very lucky it happened to me earlier in my life than later. But so I'm not sure if I'm answering your question exactly. What else would you ask?
Yes, I mean, do you that before you are born, so when you are, so to say, in the primordial state or pre-birth state, that your soul, so to say, has some kind of incarnation plan, and really choosing your parents yourself? You understand?
Yes, and now I understand what you're saying. What I learned from the Gaia perspective is that that's way too intellectual a way to look at what's really going on. Reincarnation is one of the most natural things in the universe. From stars reincarnate, everything reincarnates in one way or another. There are many levels of reincarnation, and there are beings that have died consciously and are born consciously. But for most people on planet Earth at this time, they're still in the unconscious mode, what we might call the automatic cycle of reincarnation. So it isn't like the average person really thinks about this, tries to organize it, as some of the ancients would do. You know, they would prepare for their death, and I think it's very wise to prepare for your next incarnation and be more conscious about it. But typically, you're brought back. We will always be reincarnating in one form or another, but you're brought back, if you're in the unconscious mode and unresolved mode, you're always brought back by what I might call your polarities, your desires, your fears, your self-image. image. And
as well unresolved issues, such things.
Yeah, you'll be brought right back to those in one form or another. Even if your family has completely died out physically on planet Earth, you will still reincarnate to the exact similar matrix of people. Because, birds of a feather flock together, and, water seeks its own level.
And that's why they say, for example, like for suicide cases, that you really just can't, so to say, escape anything because you are on that same consciousness level and, so to say, resonance of matrix or whatever you will call it. Yes.
Now, there's, suicide doesn't let you skip any grades at all if you're trying to escape. It's not a form of escape at all. Now,
that's what
ethical euthanasia, if you're ready to go and your body is spent, that's completely different. You can actually die consciously that way. But you're not trying to escape. You're trying to move on.
Exactly.
So there's a difference there. There really is no escape. So that's why it really behooves everyone to process their life in the moment, process everything now, and be brave enough to do that, and don't let things pile up and build up over a lifetime, because then that's an awful lot to process during that what we call our life review that people go through. So it's very, very important to discover who you are. I think an important thing is that people never really listen to themselves. If we would sit still, this is what meditation can help you with. If we sit still and listen to ourselves, you'll find out a lot about yourself, and a lot of it is unnecessary chaos going on that you have some control over.
Unflattering baggage.
Yeah, exactly, but you must be somehow conscious about how it all fits together, because as, for example, with your negative life with this cancer image of Los Angeles, at that time you were not conscious, so you had little control over the events happening.
I brought them to me by being unconscious.
You said your brain cancer evolved, for example, from this picture of Los Angeles, I think it was, as like a cancer cell, and that you thought that man on Earth is like cancer.
Yes, and see, by believing that.
But at that time you were not conscious, so that's why you couldn't somehow change it or reframe it.
Yes, I was just totally caught up in it, totally unconscious.
Exactly, and that would be my next question, because when you came from this tremendous near-death experience, and you woke up, so to say, and you said, I love my life, and were you immediately able to change, so to say, to a better outlook, more positive outlook, or did it take some longer time of adapting?
It took a while, actually, because within a few days of my near-death experience, I had an intuitive feeling, not a medical opinion, but I had an intuitive feeling that I had been given my life back, and it was like, okay, I was put back on the beach again, and I'm going, what do I do now? I have my life back, what am I going to do? And there were some times right at the beginning where I thought, after all I've learned and all I've seen, I get put right back at the minute I left off. It's kind of a raw deal. I went through some of those emotions. But I had to start where I left off. Even if I had insights and had now more understanding than I ever knew before, I had to really begin again right where I'd left off before. And so it took a couple of years. I was very supersensient in those days. I could hear what people were thinking. I could feel what they were feeling. And it was all quite disturbing. I often say, even if you could hear what everybody's saying, you wouldn't want to hear most of it anyway.
Exactly. I have the same problem.
It's like babble. So I became sort of antisocial for several years because I couldn't go to clubs, parties.
Yeah.
I was just being bombarded by everyone's feelings, and emotions have sound.
And the hidden negative ones especially.
Mm-hmm. And I could hear people's emotions. Your emotions have sounds, almost like animals.